My next project, I honestly don't know what it is because that's not what I thought was in this bag. Oh, well, I haven't made any progress on this one because I completely forgot about it. Imagine that. Hey y'all, welcome to the Yarn Everywhere podcast. This is episode number 48, and I cannot wait to share with you all of the yarny things that I have going on over here. So I am just going to jump right in and show you the projects that I'm working on. This week is a really busy week for me. Every month it is when I ship out all of my Yarn Club packages, so I haven't made a lot of progress on my whips. I've been mainly focusing on two of my projects when I have time and when I have the brain power. I will go ahead and show you the Rockstar socks that I'm working on. Look at all of that color. I really have not dedicated much time to these. I am sure I will get some time in on them this weekend. This yarn is from Christy at Stitching with Yarn, and if you've watched my last few podcast episodes, you know I'm kind of obsessed with this colorway. My next project, I honestly don't know what it is because that's not what I thought was in this bag. Oh, I haven't made any progress on this one because I completely forgot about it. Imagine that. This is my Pebbles fingerless glove, and I showed this last week and I forgot about it. I actually thought this was my Musselburgh hat that was in here, and to my surprise, I'm like, that's not my hat. So hopefully I will finish this up this weekend. Goal is to make another one and do a step-by-step video tutorial for it. And I think it's kind of funny that I completely forgot about that. For real this time, this is my Musselburgh hat, and I have knit on it, I think just a little bit since the last podcast. But here it is. I really need to put like a progress keeper on some of these projects so I know how much I've worked on them. I don't have to guess every time, so I'm going to do that right now. That will help me know if I even need to bring it up on the podcast. If I haven't worked on it, there's no sense in really sharing it. I really enjoy this knit pattern, and once I finish my sweater, I feel like I will get this one finished and probably cast on another one because it is such a fun project, and this is the project that I keep in my purse, so whenever I go somewhere, I have something that I can do to keep my hands busy. Are you ready to see the projects that have been my main focus this week? Both of these bring me so much joy that I'm having a hard time deciding which one I want to work on in the evenings. I'm going to share with you my Scrappy project that I had to overthink for a really long time before I finally decided what I was going to do. So here it is. This is my granny stripe blanket that I am making with all of my worsted weight scrap yarns, and it's going to be hard to show on here. This is the progress that I have made. I am loving every minute of it. I had a really hard time deciding what to do with this project because part of me wanted to have like one row be a color or have two rows of the same color, and finally I just decided, you know what, I want this to be something relaxing that I can kind of use up my scraps quickly. And if I'm going to sit here and plan out colors and coordinate them and then make sure I have enough of each scrap to do two rows or one row, whatever I decided on, I'm not going to enjoy it and I'm not going to make that much progress on it. So I finally decided this would just be completely random, and I really am enjoying it now. So much that I already have an idea for a Scrappy granny scarf. I'm making a magic knot ball, and after I get this finished, I plan on doing a Scrappy granny stripe scarf because I'm really enjoying scarves right now. One last look at this. I think I'm going to go ahead and put a progress keeper on here too, and that way I kind of know how much progress I'm making from week to week. Now let me share with you the whip that is really getting the majority of my attention, and that is the comfort sweater that I'm making. And y'all, I am just loving this. I have already picked out another knit sweater pattern to make after this. I just need to decide on what color. I'm trying not to go with a pink or gray. I may just go with just a tonal gray. I thought about doing a tonal gray like this, maybe a little bit darker because I love gray. But I'm also thinking about doing a variegated color, and I may challenge myself to do something that's not pink and gray because right now that's all I want to wear. Let me show you. I am almost to the ribbing part of this sweater, and then I will start the sleeves. I am a little bit intimidated by the sleeve part, just like I think it was last week where I was about to split for the sleeves. I am a little bit intimidated, but I've had several people share with me like YouTube tutorials for like how to add the sleeve in without having any holes or anything like that. So I think just knowing that I have a video tutorial, I think I'll be able to get it. Everybody said that I'm past the hard part in the sweater, so the sleeve shouldn't be bad, but this is my first time knitting a sweater or even making a garment. I've just never really been interested in like crocheting a sweater or something like that. So this is my first time tackling a project like that. And I think with anything that is new, like there is some intimidation because you just don't know what you don't know. I'm excited, and I feel like once I get my yarn club out that I will have some brain power this weekend and I'll be able to just really focus on hopefully finishing the ribbing on this and then getting started on the sleeves. I don't think I will have this finished by the next podcast, but maybe by the next podcast. So 2 podcasts from now, which is podcast episode number 50. And I have something special for that episode. So make sure you watch until the end where I'm going to make an announcement because I have something fun in store. One last look at the comfort sweater. One last thing. I was really worried about not alternating skeins in this because with hand-dyed yarn where you're going to use multiple skeins in the same project, it's highly recommended to alternate every 2 rows, and that way you don't get any like color pooling or inconsistencies in the color. For my first sweater, I did not want to have to be fooling around with changing yarns every 2 rows. I just wanted something that I could just relax and do and didn't have to think a whole lot about. So I'm really tickled that I don't have any huge fluctuations of the color. I feel like if you look hard enough, you can kind of see like it's a little bit lighter here. But I'm okay with that. Like I was fully prepared mentally just to be like, you know what, if it's some random colors, I'm okay with that. I do think for my next sweater, especially if I go with a variegated color, that I will be changing out every 2 rows. Even though all of these yarns were dyed in the same dye pot, there's still going to be differences from skein to skein. So I'm really happy to just kind of see it worked up that there's not any huge differences. Like it's something that like I can live with. I can live with the subtle differences. That wraps up all of my whips for this week. It is so weird not to have anything finished, which is something I'm kind of having to get used to. But I will have to say it's really nice just kind of focusing between 1 or 2 projects and seeing them to completion without starting 5 other whips and dividing my time. So I'm really liking that right now, and I feel like I just go in phases where I'm like hyper focused on a few things, and then the next week I may start 10 different projects and finish 3 of them. Who knows what's in store for next week? I don't even know. It's an adventure every week. Let's jump into end check. Last week I shared with you some knit hats that I found in my yarn room closet, which is a very scary place. So let me show you the progress I made on those. I actually found a 4th hat when I was looking for something else. Can't make this up. I weaved in the ends on this hat. I have not added a pom yet because I cannot find my pom-pom snaps. So I ordered some on Amazon and they should be here today. Also, I don't know if you can hear it or not, but it is pouring down rain today and we have a tin roof. So you may hear some background noise. That's all that it is. I was waiting to podcast hoping that the rain would slow down and it didn't. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna be waiting all day. I have things to do. I just need to podcast. So I'm sorry if there's a lot of background noise. And thankfully, my cat hasn't had a meltdown. I have a cat that does not like rain. When it starts raining, he wants to do nothing but like curl up in your lap. And if it starts thundering, he'll start hollering. So hopefully none of that will happen, but I just thought I should warn you. I did get the ends weaved in on this one too, and I really love this colorway. Years ago, I crocheted this big, chunky, oversized infinity scarf with this color, and it's still one of my favorite makes to this day. This was the other hat that I found, and I did not get to the ends on this one or this one. And I also found a sunshine dishcloth that needed the ends weaved in on, so I went ahead and did that while I was weaving in the ends on these. So I'm feeling pretty accomplished that even though I didn't finish any items, I weaved in the ends on some items that who knows how long it's been since I finished. I know it's probably been over a year since I've done these, and probably only a month or so since I finished this one. I also found a crate of mystery items in my closet when I was looking for my snap buttons for the pom-poms, and I'm not even going to tackle that right now. I have too much other stuff going on, but I did take it out of the closet and I put it by my desk to be visited later. I'm sure I'll have some more items to show you, and fingers crossed that the ends have already been weaved in on them. I'm going to guess that there's at least a few in there that need some attention. Now let's dive into yarn news. So last week I told y'all about getting in the dye room and playing around with some new dye techniques and playing around with colors. And let me tell you, I had the best time. And I ended up getting back in the dye room again on Monday, and I had to make myself stop because I could have just played all week long, all day long. And this is ship out week for my yarn club. So if I want to ship out my yarn club on time, I need to stop playing in the dye room and focus on all those things that needed to be done. So sadly, I didn't get as much yarn dyed as I wanted to, but I did have fun, and I have some gorgeous yarn to share with y'all. I am having the hardest time naming some of these colorways. I am obsessed with the way these turned out. There are only 4 of them, and they're all worsted weight. I posted a picture yesterday on Instagram and Facebook asking for help naming these, and there were so many great suggestions. One comment said My Little Pony, so I thought about looking up My Little Pony names and like naming it after one of the My Little Ponies, but there were so many just great suggestions, and I still haven't made up my mind, and I need to because I need to get these on my website for a shop update for my yarn club members. Last night, my brain was just so tired. My husband came home, and I told him, I can't believe I'm going to say this on the podcast, but I'm going to say it. I told him, I said, you know how I knew it was time to stop for the day? And he's like, what? I said, when I'm thinking about naming a colorway Sparkle Farts. I'm like, what? I don't even know where it came from, but I was stuck on Sparkle Farts. And I'm like, there's no way I am naming a colorway Sparkle Farts, but it was stuck in my head. So I was calling my husband Sparkle Farts all night. I know, y'all, I'm too much sometimes, but it cracked me up. Like, my husband, he was cooking supper, and he's like, I almost just spit in our food because he was laughing so hard. You can't make this stuff up. And then later on, we were scrolling Facebook, and he said, somebody commented unicorn toots on your post. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's great. Somebody's mind was in the same place mine was. So I need to go through that feed and catch up on all the comments and see the amazing ideas so I can get these named and in the shop. These are one of a kind, but I did take notes so I can dye them again, but they're going to vary. They're going to probably vary a lot from batch to batch just because of the technique I used. You will probably see these again because I definitely want to do more on DK weight and sock weight because I think these would make some amazing socks. Let me show you a colorway that really took me out of my comfort zone, but I saw a color inspiration photo on Pinterest, and I just had to put these colors together on yarn, and it was a sunset photo. So I'm a sucker for sunset, so I had to do it. How gorgeous is that? I named this colorway Sun Goes Down because it just makes me think of late sunset right before it's just completely dark, and I love it. I will say I did chicken out because in the color inspiration photo there was red and I did not add red, but some of the orange and that like magenta color mixed and you get pops of red in there. So I'm kind of glad I chickened out and didn't add red because I really love the way this turned out. Like I love that dark pop of orange here. It's not a lot of that throughout the colorway. It's just a few pops here and there. And I do have this on my sock weight base and my DK weight base. So that is Sun Goes Down. The next colorway I'm a little bit obsessed with too. It gives me all of the Northern Light vibes, and I have had so many colorways named Northern Lights, so I'm thinking about calling this like Canadian Sky, but I'm also getting like mermaid vibes, oceany vibes with it too. There was only one batch of this yarn, so there are 2 worsted, 1 sock, and 1 DK weight. Again, I was just in there kind of playing around with a new technique and seeing how the colors would pop. I didn't go crazy dyeing a bunch of one colorway just in case it did not turn out. But I did video how I did these and I took notes, so I feel like we will see more variations of this colorway in the future because I'm obsessed. I'm also really thinking about listing this one as a sock set because I think that would make a gorgeous sock set. So far, I have talked myself out of keeping this. The one-of-a-kinds are so hard for me to part with because I want them. One more colorway to show you, and I feel like I saved the best for last. If you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you've probably seen a reel with this color in the dye pot. Then I posted one today, which is Friday, February 24th. I don't think the podcast is actually going to go up until tomorrow, Saturday the 25th, or maybe even Sunday. It just kind of depends on how much editing I need to do. And if you've watched my bloopers, you know that the struggle is real. If you saw that reel, you've already seen this colorway. And again, I'm struggling with naming this, but I think I have decided on a name for it. Are you ready? How gorgeous is that? Here it is on worsted weight. Teal, purples, and pinks together I think will always be one of just my favorite color combinations. And where some of these colors mixed, you get this really nice pretty blue color too. And I love all the different colored speckles, and I only speckled with one color, and those are my favorite colors that break because it's like you get more bang for your buck. You get all these different colors and you only speckled once, which means there's not a crazy amount of speckles because I can go a little speckle crazy. Here it is on my sock weight. I do have this on DK weight too. I just didn't bring them in here. And I'm thinking about calling these Frankly 90s because I'm getting like all the Lisa Frank vibes from these. Those are all of the super fun one-of-a-kinds that I'm going to be listing soon. My Yarn Club members get first chance at these, and then the rest will go into my yarn shop. My plan is to get in the dye room on Monday and dye some more of these. So if they don't make it out of my yarn club, I feel like I will be stocking my shop soon with more of these. Again, I'm playing around with this new technique. I still think there's going to be a big variation from batch to batch, but it'll be the same color combinations. So we'll see how that goes. I'm ready to get in there and play around and just kind of see what the results are, because that has been one of my struggles for a really long time, is creating this super colorful yarn that isn't just one hank that I can create several batches of, even if it's gonna vary a little here and there. It's kind of replacing my finger paint dyeing method. Kind of have another idea that maybe I just bounce off of you. Let me know what you think. The idea came from all the fun that I am having with this Scrappy project. I thought about taking some of my scrap yarn that I'm not going to use or that I have already used in this blanket, because I'm trying not to make too many rows of the same color, because I do want it really random and I don't want it to be full of one color. So I thought about taking some of the scraps that I have left over or that I'm not going to use in this blanket, dividing them up into like 10 gram or 20 gram balls, and then selling them like 10 at a time, or like put 10 of the 10 grams together to get 100 grams, or 5 of the 20s to get 100 grams, and selling some Scrappy packets in my yarn shop. I know that is something that I would be interested in buying that I don't think I've seen available. I'm not saying that people don't do it. Just from the dyers that I follow, I don't think I've seen the option to buy some scraps. So I think that would be really fun. And if there are yarn dyers that sell Scrappy packs, let me know. I think that would be so much fun. So let me know what you think. Would that be something you were interested in? Because at this point, especially like my sock weight, my DK weight, I don't know if I will ever get to all of those scraps. And I really enjoy seeing other people's scrappy projects. So let me know if you think that's a good idea. One last thing in yarn news, and then we're going to get to the fun thing I have in store for podcast episode number 50, which is 2 episodes from now. I have what I call my Overdye party bucket. And you're probably like, what are you talking about? Overdyeing yarn is one of my absolute favorite things to do, and I just haven't taken time in a while to do that. So what I'll do is, if I have a colorway that was in my shop that I'm sick of looking at, that I feel like just didn't sell fast enough, I will take it out of inventory and I will throw it in my Overdye party bucket. As you can see, it is like overflowing. Some of these on top are currently in my shop right now. The clock is ticking on these. If you want to save these from me, grab them out of my shop, because I feel like next week or the next week, these are gonna go in the party bucket and I'm gonna overdye these, because I cannot stop thinking about throwing these in a dye pot of black. I think it would just be absolutely gorgeous. My other thought was to throw these in a dye pan and then just speckle black over them. But I love black and pink and red. I think it would just be so pretty. Then this one, this colorway, which is the Wine and Roses colorway, I keep thinking about over dyeing this with like a really, really dark burgundy or black. I think black would be really pretty too. And this is still in the yarn shop too. So if you want to save any of these colorways are I'm Yours, and I still have them on worsted, DK, and sock weight. And then this is Wine and Roses, and I just have one worsted weight left. Then I have this really pretty faded blue jean blue that has been in my yarn stash for a long time, at least 2 years. And I kept thinking I'm gonna pair it with another tonal or something like that, and I just haven't. So I think I'm gonna overdye this one too. Definitely thinking it's gonna be speckles. I have several just tonal colors that I think I'm just gonna heat up and just speckle the mess out of and see how they come out. So that's my idea for this one. My other idea is a dark navy, and just drop it in some dark navy and just see what happens, because I think that would be really pretty too. Let me know what you think. Also, I keep thinking turquoise, navy, pink, purple speckles. I know you're surprised by all my speckles. This one has also been in my yarn stash for a long time. This was a sample yarn that I bought, and it is worsted weight, and it's single ply worsted weight. And it feels so amazing, and it's so soft, but I feel like it needs some love. It needs like some speckle love, some more color love, something. I'm thinking it needs some blues and purples and turquoise. I'm stuck. I'm stuck on that. I definitely think this one's gonna be speckled. Or I may overdye it with a green and do like a beachy vibe with it. And I don't know what I want to make with it, but it is so soft. Next in my overdye party bucket, you're gonna be really surprised with these. I'm tired of looking at these. I am just tired of looking at these tan yarn. They're just boring. So I think I'm gonna spice it up a little bit. And I'm going in two totally opposite directions with these. I'm thinking coffee shop, where I could overdye with a darker brown and maybe even speckle with some brown, just to give a coffee vibe. That's one idea. My other idea is to speckle, like I'm talking about speckle crazy to where you can barely see the brown. I said brown on the podcast. Wow. Last week I couldn't say it. Anyways, thinking about like a sweater weather theme, like reds and oranges and just a fall theme, like a crunchy leaves, like, I don't know, fallen leaves type color. That's where my brain is at with these. I'm really leaning more towards coffee shop though than fall, because I dyed so many fall colorways that I'm kind of just over it for now. Here is another one that has been in here for a while, and I'm thinking about overdyeing this one in a really dark navy, like a Chicago Bears navy, to just kind of get a Da Bears vibe. That's where I'm at right now. Again, I think this one would be really fun speckled and then just have hints of that orange peeking out, but I don't know. I have some minis in here that were supposed to just be blue, and somehow, I don't know if you can even see it on here. Right there, there's some green, which I think would have been fine, but I wasn't crazy about it. So I'm like, I'm just gonna overdye these. So that's where I'm at with these. Don't know, probably speckles. Here is another one that is just kind of boring. It needs some speckles, or it needs to be overdyed. Thinking a dark burgundy color or even a navy would be really pretty overdyed. Or again, speckles. Speckles are always an option. I feel like all these, when I'm saying speckles, I just need to put in a pan and line them up and just go speckle crazy. I do love the color, and it already has some speckles of other colors in there, but it was just kind of meh, so overdye. Here I have some really pretty like sky blue that just needs some love and attention. Oh, this one's really pretty, and I'm surprised it's in the overdye. Oh, I see why it's in the overdye. It has some color on there that wasn't supposed to be on there. So I'm either going to, surprise, surprise, wait for it, speckle or overdye this. I actually love that color in there. It's just in this one spot. So I think I may just speckle more of that color and maybe a navy or a darker pink, not sure. But it is a really pretty color, and that color doesn't look bad. It's just one spot, and I just couldn't sell it like that. And here is a really pretty turquoise that, look, it has the spot of green. I don't know where this green is coming from, but it is on my nerves. These are going to be overdyed, and these are 20 gram minis, so they're probably going to be speckled. I feel like I need to take a bunch of my tonal 20 gram minis that I have dyed up and just have what I'm going to call a mini adventure and speckle random colors. Have like a big pack of minis that you can buy that are all different colors and all different speckles or overdyes, all the things. That's another idea that I have. I just need more time in the day. I need more time to actually dye yarn. That's it. That's all that I have in my overdye party bucket. I found more possible victims. This would be super fun to overdye in another color. Speckles. All right, y'all, that is all that I have for you this week. And now let's get to the fun idea that I have for podcast episode number 50, which is 2 episodes from now. Let's have a giveaway to celebrate episode number 50. And I think it needs to be a mystery yarn bag. One winner will get a mystery yarn bag with a fun mystery goodie item. I'm just going to keep it super simple this episode to get your name entered into the drawing. Just comment below with your favorite yarn color combinations. What colors do you love to see on yarn that you just cannot resist every time that you see them together? That's all that you have to do to get your name entered into the drawing. I will draw names right before podcast episode number 50. That way it'll give everybody time to watch this episode, find out about the giveaway, and get their name entered. Just want to add real quick, because I feel like whenever you do giveaways, there's going to be scams going on. I don't feel like my channel is big enough for that, but I do want to just add that I will never comment asking you to call me, text me, send me your credit card information, anything like that. I will be announcing the winner on episode number 50, and that is how you will find out that you won. I'm not going to comment saying that you won and click this link or anything like that. So if you see a comment like that, please just ignore it. Don't click on any links. Don't give anybody your credit card information. I am not going to conduct the giveaway like that. I'm just going to announce it on episode 50, and I will give you my email address so you can email me the information I need to send out your prize. Good luck to everybody. Again, just comment below with your favorite yarn color combination. If you're not already subscribed, I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel. And if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. That would mean the world to me. And until next time, happy yarning. Bye for now.